Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Midnight Archives. I'm Corbin. I want to let you know that this story was sent in by one of our viewers, but I'll be sharing it in first person to make the experience more immersive. All right, let's begin. So, picture this. I'm Liam, a wildlife photographer, and I've just spent the last 3 days capturing the northern lights in the remote Lofoten Islands. It's 2:30 a.m. and I'm exhausted but determined to make the 6-hour drive to Bergen before sunrise. I take Route 68, a narrow mountain road that cuts through some of Norway's most isolated terrain. For the first hour, it's just me and the endless darkness. The only light comes from my headlights reflecting off the frost-covered pines that press in from both sides. There's no cell service, no other cars, just me and this twisting ribbon of asphalt through the wilderness. That's when I first notice them. 2 piercing blue-white lights in my rearview mirror. At first, they're keeping a respectful distance, but within minutes, they're right on my bumper. The intensity is unbelievable. It's like having 2 miniature suns blinding me through the mirrors. I try everything to get them to back off. I tap my brakes. I slow down to 30 kilometers per hour, hoping they'll pass, but they match my speed exactly. When I accelerate, they stay glued to my bumper without any hesitation. That's when I realize this isn't normal driving. The lights don't swing with the curves in the road. They remain perfectly, unnaturally fixed in my mirrors, as if whatever's behind me isn't actually following the road at all. My hands are sweating on the wheel now. I've been driving these mountain roads for years, but I've never felt this kind of primal fear. The isolation suddenly feels threatening rather than peaceful. That's when I see the tunnel up ahead, my potential salvation. It's well lit and about 400 meters long. I floor the accelerator, hitting 140 kilometers per hour as I shoot into the brightly lit passage. I watch in my rearview mirror as the other vehicle stops dead at the tunnel entrance. Its blinding lights still pointed straight at me. But when I emerge from the tunnel, those lights are already behind me again, not approaching from the tunnel mouth, already there, right on my tail as if they'd never left. As if they'd somehow bypassed the tunnel entirely. Pure adrenaline courses through me. I spot a small gravel pull-off with a picnic table and swerve into it, killing the engine and all lights. The vehicle pulls in right behind me, its lights cutting off abruptly and plunging us into total darkness. For what feels like an eternity, nothing happens. Just the ticking of my cooling engine and my own pounding heartbeat. Then I hear it. A heavy dragging sound moving through the gravel around my car. It's methodical, rhythmic, and it's getting closer. The dragging stops right beside my passenger window. That's when I hear the breathing, wet, ragged, and far too close to the glass. Then the scratching begins, 4 distinct parallel lines being dragged across the door panel at chest height. Through the faint moonlight, I can make out a shape, impossibly tall and thin with limbs that seem wrong somehow. I can't take it anymore. I start the car and peel out, gravel flying everywhere as I fishtail back onto the road. I don't stop driving until I see the first lights of civilization over an hour later. The next morning, in the cold light of day, I find 4 deep parallel gouges running the length of the passenger side. But what chills me to the bone is the handprint on the window, 6 fingers, Too long, too narrow, positioned at a height that suggests whatever made it was at least 7 feet tall. When I show the damage to a local mechanic, his face goes pale. "You met the Veivokter," he whispers, "the road guardian. They say they've been here since before the roads were built. The markings mean you've been chosen. They'll be watching for your return." He refuses to say more, but his fear is genuine. I took the first flight home the next day, and I haven't driven at night since. Sometimes, when I'm lying awake, I still hear that dragging sound outside my window. This is Corbin again. If you have a story you'd like to share, send it to our submission box. Remember to stay safe out there on those dark roads. Thanks for watching.